6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 29th, and I call this meeting of the City of Merrill Personal Finance Committee to order. The second item on the agenda is approval of the vouchers.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers.
I'll second it.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the vouchers. Any discussion?
And no question.
Nope, I'm good.
All right, motion is made and seconded. All those in favor signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Vouchers are approved. Consider approving the minutes from the previous meeting, that will be from August 27th.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second it.
Made and seconded to approve the minutes. Any adjustments or concerns? All those in favor of approving the minutes from August 27th, say so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, same sign. Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Under general items for consideration, discuss vacancy review protocol during hiring freeze. I requested this item be put on the agenda, and I just wanted to go over with the administration, everybody, to know that we can meet, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, in a 2-hour notice.
In an emergency.
Yes, and we can meet in 24 hours.
24 hours is standard.
Yeah. So I guess we had 2 vacancies in a row that we likely would have filled, but yet they were in the paper before we discussed it. We were at a disadvantage of both of them, that the employees, on their own, it had nothing to do with our time, it just stunk us right after we'd all met. So I just wanted to make sure that we're reviewing them at whatever level before we go ahead with posting, because I think going forward, there'll be some positions that we won't necessarily fill. And I just don't want the department head to say, gosh, when that mechanic was open, we got it in the paper right away. I just want to clarify that. And we did put into this when we initially approved the hiring freeze, that we would go to the city council with any vacancy, no matter how this committee votes. So I guess if we want, if it's a real urgent situation, if we had approved it at personnel finance and then started advertising it to the council, I don't see that being a big deal. Was that urgent?
No, and it's my fault for that. Kind of gave Dustin the go-ahead to put it in the paper. And sometimes I forget that we have this, but thank you for bringing this back on the table, and we will do a better job in the future.
I just wanted to make sure that others knew that
Yep.
when this comes in the future, that we are watching this.
Yep. No, and not that it matters what position it is, but this one we really can't live without. But what's that?
We cannot. No.
Yeah, no, and that's no excuse. We do have rules for a reason, so.
And I guess I'm to a point with the hiring freeze. I realized when the council enacted the hiring freeze years ago, whatever it was, that we had some administrators that were just kind of willy-nilly with some hirings and stuff, and there were some other financial issues going on. But I'm almost to a point where I think I trust the majority of our administrators to not have to worry about, that if there's a vacancy coming up that they know we could probably live without, that they're not going to go hiring for that.
I think the reason why this was put in place is the previous administrator just immediately filled vacancies. Nothing was ever reviewed.
No, and I understand that, but that's where I'm saying, like, right now, Administrator Akey, I think, has done a very good job of looking, at the broader picture and not just filling to fill. So I'd almost be willing to lift this hiring freeze at this point in time, but that is my opinion on it. I am one of seven.
My
Alderman
thoughts on that are that, I don't totally disagree with you, Nathan, but at the same token, we've recognized we're at a point where pretty soon positions are the only thing we're going to have left to be able to cut out of our budgeting
And
going
I understand
forward.
that one.
And so that's where I think, if we can eliminate a position because of a retirement or because someone is leaving on their own choosing, that would be an appropriate time for us to try to do that if it's feasible and if it's so I think I would like to keep that in mind as far as considerations to.
I would agree with that, but I think that's where I'm saying I would at this point in time trust Administrator Akey to bring that to our attention if that were to, if that kind of scenario were
Without having a meeting outside of a meeting where, if I emailed all three of you and said, what's your opinion on this one? We'll address it at the next PNF meeting, so we didn't have to call a special meeting. Would that suffice?
I would rather have it in front of this body.
Okay.
Publicly.
Yep.
Than everybody's aware.
Well, and I think it would come to the body publicly, but if we were to,
But if you would do a poll, you're gonna have a department that eventually, because there are positions we aren't gonna fill. We did not fill 2 of them last year.
No, I agree with
Last
that.
year. So there are gonna be a point where that's gonna continue. And I also think it takes part of the pressure off Rod, that he can say, it wasn't me, it was the committee that said this wasn't this meeting. I mean, you give your opinion and it's valued, but sometimes we don't always agree. So it takes some of the bad guy off that, I think, too.
Let's just keep it going like it is, and we'll do a better job of bringing it forward.
Okay, as long as we're on that topic, let's discuss and consider lifting the hiring freeze for a mechanic position.
Make a motion to do so.
I will second it for the sake of discussion.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to lift the hiring freeze for a mechanic position. I will turn to Rod.
The mechanic that left us, he's going up to Vilas County, I do believe, and very good employee for, I want to say, 13 years, I think it was. Just a life change, and he wanted to move up there. He had land up there. Not an easy decision for him. I did an exit interview with him, and we talked about a few things that we can address down there, but all in all, it went pretty well, and I think we need to fill this position. And getting into winter, it was usually when stuff breaks down and blade changes and everything else, so like it filled.
And as he said, if we were going into spring, this may not be such a rush position, but if we were going into winter and that position's already valued, when he actually gets out and fall snow and time.
Correct.
Are you thinking that, I guess you probably don't really know, but what are the chances of bringing someone in at that same level of experience? Would you be, or are you, would you?
We
is there
already have
a pay grade that you bring them in at regardless of experience, or?
Well, with 13 years, I do believe he was maxed out. We would bring somebody in probably at 5 or 6, depending on their experience.
Okay.
We'd like to get somebody with more experience. We do have 6 applicants already, and there's a couple good ones in there, so
That's good.
I think we'll have luck.
I was one of the records in Bob Ginger, we should say it wrong, he was really good at what he did. But I don't blame him for this opportunity, and I thank you for interviewing him, so we know that it wasn't the culture that made him leave, it was the Northwoods that made him
Yep.
leave. We lost him to a beautiful company.
Actually took him out for lunch, and we had a good conversation, so.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any other further discussion on this? Motion made and seconded to lift the hiring freeze for mechanic position. All those in favor signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Matters carried and passed on to common council. Number 3rd on the general item for consideration is discuss and consider the fairgrounds manager position. Previously at a fairgrounds meeting, the group voted to discontinue the contract with Mr. Bjork moving forward. And he has a 60-day drop-dead notice in his contract, as most of our people do, so he'll be on the payroll till the end of the year. And I guess it's the thought of where we have to go forward. I don't know who's going to lead this.
We had talked about having Hallie Saval, our social media specialist, take over as the fairgrounds manager. And I don't know if fairground manager is the title we want to keep that at. Fairgrounds promoter, fairgrounds, maybe something a little bit more on the marketing end of stuff, because she is giving tours of the building, but she's also doing stuff down there, which, again, promoting. So it's.
I'd like to see like events coordinator or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I guess we'll try to put that together if you do agree on combining these as far as what title we give that position. And this is just some thoughts as far as how to break this down into existing funds. social media specialist right now we have at 32.5. She does not reach that, or she hasn't in the last year. She's not getting quite the hours that we had budgeted for. Fairgrounds managers at 12,000, total of 44.5. If we put her at 28 hours a week as a part-time employee at $25 an hour, that's 36,400 with retirement and Social Security, Medicare, and what's the other one?
FICA, it's Social Security.
FICA, sorry, okay. That comes out to 41,714, so I think we could do this. She's running short hours now as the social media. Some weeks she's over, some weeks she's under, but I think we could get more, I won't say out of her, if we make her an employee and kind of have her do all these things. We had, Steve, you want to join in? We had talked with her about it.
Mhm. Yeah, she's on board with working with us on getting this going, and I think she'd be a valuable asset down there.
I will say to this committee that I've gotten the chance through my job of working closely with her, and I see nobody better suited for this kind of position and someone that works very well in this culture, so I would agree with this.
So the 28 hours, that makes her part-time, does that qualify for any part-time benefits at all, or?
The state retirement system is the WRS.
But like vacation or any of that type of
It's
prorated
prorated.
vacation things, or?
No health insurance.
Yeah,
No.
She'll be under 1,500 hours, so. But over 1,200, I think those are the two cutoffs.
600 hours for WRS, and it's 30 hours a week is the minimum for health insurance.
Okay.
And we,
I would like to see her have a City of Merrill email address, because it drives me nuts that anyone is conducting city business with a personal email address, especially now that we've upped her hours. I just, it helps us keep track of people that are doing extra work. In the future, not this year, sorry, Ally, but I'd like to see this position be rewarded with the more events brought there and the larger events brought there. Eventually, this position, how many years down the road can be some college kid's dreams going to college and be Mr. or Mrs. Promoter or Ms. Promoter, and you have all these events now and get better paid because you're enriching the city. So that's not on the table now, but it's certainly a thought for the future.
and this would be a part-time position, not contracted. Okay.
So then she would get the city email and.
Yep.
Can I suggest maybe a title would be a promotional events specialist?
Yeah, I think it's something that we can work on
I don't know.
and bring,
We'll work
if
on
you
it.
want to.
Something along that lines, or?
And we're also looking at the Fund 26 and Fund 24, and if you want to elaborate on that as far as, the marketing one is the Fund 26, where, maybe somehow we could be utilizing that fund versus the tax levy, which is the 20.
Right, Fairgrounds is Fund 24, and there are tax dollars there.
As far as the marketing aspect of it. And maybe we go a year and see how that job evolves and prorate it some way, shape, or form, but
So sign a one-year contract with her.
I think we're hiring her as an employee. It's,
But they wouldn't be.
yeah. I mean, everybody's at will.
And we can just sort of see where she's spending her time and what she's doing. Is that what you're saying? And like evaluate her funding sources then?
Right.
We can do that.
Yeah, the only thing I was looking at is possibly getting that $12,000 into the marketing end of things. But let's see how she does and where she spends her time, I guess.
I would agree with that, considering we, just through council budget sessions, Emily had gone through and was showing us exactly where a lot of time is going in for those that are getting money from different accounts, essentially. So, it would make sense for us to look over a year and see where Ally does. end up spending her time at this position.
What if she cleaned the bathrooms, you take it out of water and sewer?
She has cleaned down at the enrichment center when we were short. She's all hands on deck and.
Yep, she
She
jumps
does.
in when needed and,
I'm just saying, I like that fun.
And we also talked about, where she should be, and maybe Sherry's office, or old office, that area, would be a good spot to have her, just as far as availability.
Or access for the.
Yep.
And I think the more events we have and the better utilized that spot is, the more revenue that spot will have. And so it might come off the levy, it might not need tax dollars eventually.
That's what I was
And
kind of thinking. Yeah.
I keep flip-flopping, but I think it is nice to know exactly how much it costs to run that. So if we charge her time to marketing, we don't really know. It's not the true cost of what it costs to run the
Yeah, the facilities.
yeah.
and she has brought some ideas already to us. She's already got some pretty good ideas to how to promote down there, so.
Do we need to forward this to council or?
Well, we're creating a position, so I guess,
I would forward-
are we creating or are we consolidating? But I don't think it would hurt to take it to council. We have until the first, it wouldn't be effective until January 1st, so.
And I will make a motion to combine these two positions
Rename.
and rename them with the hiring of Hallie as that position. Is that, would that be the proper way?
I think so.
Mhm.
And-
No
and
surprise,
forward-
that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, and forward this.
Approve it and forward to council.
Yeah, recommend a motion to, yeah.
Got that, Lori?
With the 28-hour speculation or whatever.
Yeah, you have to put
I'm
them.
trying to talk through the motion. I'll rephrase it.
I will second exactly what he said, Lori.
Once you figure it out, let us know. All right, motion
I have the
made.
gist of it.
Motion made, and seconded to consolidate two positions and send it on for, to review at the council. All those in favor, signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The matter is forwarded. Monthly report. Amy Hobbs.
Be happy to answer any questions.
Return to the city administrator, Akey, after hearing nothing.
A couple months worth there.
Thanks for labeling yours.
Wow.
Got two reports from Steve, and I thought I was seeing double.
Was an opportunity, Steve.
Any
Sorry.
questions?
Hearing none, we'll move on to finance director Lady.
And I apologize for not having anything prepared in the packet, but we've been keeping very busy.
She got a pass.
We had a lot in the packet last night.
Can I ask, Emily, do you have an update on the audit status at all, or any idea from them when that will be available?
I
or-
actually just got a request today from the auditors. They were looking at the community development loans and asked me to dig up some information for them. So my understanding was that it had been like in the review process, but it looks like they found something and are going back in and looking at it. So last time I talked to Amber was on, today's Tuesday, so I talked to her on Thursday. So I'm keeping close contact with them. They just, as soon as they send me something, I'm jumping on it, trying to get it for them.
Mhm.
It is surprising that it's this late, though.
Yeah.
As someone who sat out there and here for many budget sessions, I do think this is one of our smoothest ones.
Thanks, thank you. I had a lot of help.
I would agree that this was probably the smoothest I've ever seen, and it's definitely the easiest one I think we've gone through in quite a long time. So I want to thank you for that.
With that being said, I think that once we kind of figure out where we're at and what the cost increase will be on the the old $150 home, which we no longer have in our store, or $300, but kind of lay out that cost and do a social media ease into, hey, this is what we're looking at, because everybody was so freaked out by these appraisals. So I guess if we can work on that little bit of soft cushion to get people ready for their tax bill, which are, and emphasize this is our state, not what the school board and county does or anything.
With that being said, we had a discussion this morning about the budget for next year as far as getting portions of it done in August and September, so when it comes to the end of October, all we have left is the state numbers to plug and chug, so that's kind of what our goal is.
The county has their individual department budgets done by August.
And that's been a talk for us to do for years.
Yep.
So glad to see that we're actually looking ahead.
I would also like to get Emily's input, come January, February, as to what she would, how she would like to see things done. If she's got any suggestions or anything on how to go about making that a better approach too, so.
Trade for a mild winter. We'll call it. Any further questions for Finance Director Lane? If not, we'll move on to City Attorney Heaton.
Well, you just mentioned a mild winter. Last year I did buy a brand new, very impressive snow blower. It's beautiful. It's sitting in the garage, never used. I'll buy another one of it. That's what it takes.
You sound like Chief Excellent.
Happy to answer any questions about my snow blower or anything else.
There are no questions for the city attorney. We'll move on to the city clerk, Anderson Malm, who's not been doing much this last few weeks either.
Oh, my gosh. I just wanted to let everybody know that, since last Tuesday, the 22nd, that was the first day of in-person absentee voting. And since then, I just looked, we did 764 ballots. People have voted in person. The absentee requests that we had that I mailed out, we had 687 of those. So right now we have a total of 1,451 total absentee envelopes. The election inspectors are going to be extremely busy next Tuesday morning to start processing those. It's been, yeah.
And this is obviously your first presidential election.
Mhm.
You did do a gubernatorial election, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
No.
No. Mm-mm. Nope, not yet. That's coming up. But, hey, if I can handle this, if I can get through this, piece of cake.
Don't land us on the front page of the paper.
No, that's the thing. In all my training, I'm like, my name's not going to be in the paper. That's what I keep telling all of my workers. My name is not going to be in the paper.
Don't give the mayor any cards.
No.
Hard hat.
You have all the workers that you need?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I scheduled.
Except for one.
No, he'll be there. I scheduled at least 7 per polling location, because I have 3 shifts. There's a 14-hour shift. There's the 6:30 to 1:30 p.m. or the 1:30 to 8:30 p.m. But throughout the day, there will be 7 people scheduled at each polling location all day long. And I have a couple extras, and I found out that if needed, a clerk can actually do registrations. That's all I can do at a polling location, so I can pitch in and do voter registrations if I have to, which I might have to do at the mark, but I'll wait. I'll let the chiefs let me know.
I'm wondering if you're getting more voter participation because the polling moves to the hearing building. Does that affect like the high rise? I'm just wondering if it's easier to come here than around there.
No, everybody has been, I don't even know where half of these people have been. I have a stack, probably this thick, of registrations from September. I just keep piling them on my file cabinet because I'll file them in January.
And these are people that just have never voted before.
They've either moved, they've changed their names, they've never voted. A lot of people have moved, different, throughout the area, or moved. Even if you move from one apartment in the same building to another apartment, you still have to re-register because it's a new address. So a lot of those, but a lot of people that have never voted before, or moved into the area.
And these aren't 18, 19-year-olds, these are older people that are.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
I know people my
Mhm.
age that haven't voted yet, and it annoys the cheapest it's out of.
How many ballots are you anticipating processing? I mean, how many of you?
Well, we have about a little over 4,000 registered voters. So, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to have a huge turnout of, people who haven't voted, that all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, it's election day, I better go out and vote. We might have that. But a lot of people that are voting in person now, they said they've never voted early before. But they're just, they think there's going to be long lines, and they just want to get it done. So that's the majority of the people that have been coming in.
The
They're
amount
just-
of, the amount of people I've been getting, talking to me, how do I early vote? What are the hours?
Mhm,
Where can I do
mhm.
it? So
Yeah.
I get at least 1 to 2 calls a day and texts, so.
Mhm.
Recommend you and your staff for going through this. Let's replace the floor.
No, did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm making kind of a path.
Maybe he brings him by when he's.
There aren't any former street blocks that are voting, are there?
What?
Like Mr. Akey in his future, when they become asphalt and.
Anything further for the city clerk?
Nothing from me.
Monthly report from the municipal court, we think. We'll move on to considering a motion to place your monthly report.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made, seconded, to place your monthly reports on file. All those in favor, signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Public comment. Public comment here or any vote on what? This is the time for public comment. And the third and final call for public comment. Next meeting date time, I think we adjusted this last night at health and safety, so we're gonna look at the 19th.
Yeah, that's the Tuesday before. That's right. Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Any other meetings?
No, there isn't.
When is the marketing meeting, Lori?
That is the 20th? 21st, yeah,
Okay.
because then it's going to be.
Good, I was hoping
Monday's
it
going to be
was-
health and safety, Tuesday's going to be P&F, Wednesday's probably Board of Public Works,
Library board.
Thursday's marketing.
And then hunting season starts this there, and then that's really affects the we'll be done for.
Okay, so no, then I will change that.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I
So-
will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made, seconded, to adjourn. All in favor, signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
So we're adjourned.
Thank you all.